Hello and welcome to Indian Standard Time. I'm Zakka. Jacob. The province of Saskatchewan in Canada trades over $1 billion of goods with India. Joining us on the Indian Standard Time this week is the Premier of Saskatchewan, Brad Wall. Welcome to India.
Thanks very much.
And welcome to Indian Standard Time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So this is your second visit in 3 years.
Yeah.
What brings you here so often?
It's one of our most important trading relationships. It's our fourth largest market in terms of our exports, but it's growing faster than most. Since 2007, our exports to this fast-growing economy they've increased by 69%. Okay. Now, conversely, imports from India to our province have increased 240%. The absolute numbers, though, are significant just because of the sheer size of the opportunity here. So we want to be here in the market, firstly, to say thank you. And secondly, to see if it can develop further to the mutual benefit of both Saskatchewan and India.
What differences do you find in the 2 times that you've been here?
There seems to be a bit of a buzz here now that wasn't there before, an energy and an optimism about the future. When we were here first, it was remarkable, just the sense of the opportunity here and the growth that was possible. And then what changed, it just seems to be, perhaps from an outsider's perspective, is that there is an increased energy to take the next step.
And this gets reflected when you speak with business leaders, when you speak with government officials?
On both counts. We've heard it from business, a great deal of optimism about the ability to attract more investment here and create more jobs here, but also from government sources. We've also sensed that. You know, when we were here 3 years ago, we were fortunate enough to meet with then Chief Minister Modi when we went to Gujarat.
That's right.
And what we saw, what we sensed in Gujarat, that level of energy and optimism, that economic hope, I think, that was there, it seems to be now the same sort of broader feeling that we pick up.
And as I understand, you've got a meeting with him. You've managed to squeeze in a meeting.
I hope so. I think it's near. But he's very busy. He was just at the G20, and obviously he's filling arenas around the world.
That's true.
So if we can just have a few moments to say thank you to him and appreciate the relationship that started back in when he was Chief Minister in Gujarat. I have the same job. He has quite a different job right now.
Yeah. Let's talk about the trading relationship. Obviously, just for your province alone, India is the 4th largest trading partner?
It's our 4th largest source.
Give our viewers here in India a sense of the breadth of this relationship as well as the depth of it.
It's significant even nationally for us in Canada. Of all of Canada's exports to India last year, we accounted for 36% from our province, and our province only accounts for 3% of the population. All right. The reason for that is I think we have a lot of what India and Asia is seeking as they continue to grow a middle class. We have food, the answers to food security questions. We have energy and we have fertilizer. And these are, I think, foundational to the continuing growth of this country and its economy, but also the region as a whole. It's very significant for us. We have 18,000 farmers that grow lentils or pulses. Our pulse crops and the economic development from them are driven by the fact that India is by far our most important market. 79% of the lentils imported into India come from our farmers, and 61% of the peas, yellow peas. And so you can imagine how this pervades all of the economy in Saskatchewan. 1.1 million people in Saskatchewan playing that potentially bigger role here in India.
It's huge.
It is. Plus, we have so many Indo-Canadians now, newcomers calling Saskatchewan home, and so it goes beyond a transaction or trade. Okay. It's now it's relational. It's about people.
But tell me a little bit about the breadth of that relationship, because a large chunk of it, I mean, almost all of it, is on 3 commodities. It's lentils, peas, and it's potash. How do you broaden that relationship?
Well, uranium is one way to do that. Okay. This is one of the safest, well-regarded, highly reputed, and robust civilian nuclear markets in the world. And we are the 15th, we supply 15% of the world's uranium, very high grade, but we've yet to sell any into the market. So we've been having meetings around uranium here as for example, just in Gujarat where we were yesterday, there's 4 reactors under construction. They're going to need, there will be a need for more uranium, and we hope to be a part of that. But I hope the exchange of ideas happens as well, that we'll sign some MOUs around post-secondary training, for example, while we're here. We also hope that our companies and our producers and even the government can work within India, investing in things like crop science, investing in security issues here. I think that's a reasonable next step for the relationship.
I want to talk a little bit about the energy relationship, because obviously we are a hugely energy deficient country and nuclear is one of the ways to go. India and Canada signed the Civil Nuclear Agreement in 2010. There were some hiccups down the road. Supply, as I understand, supply of uranium still hasn't started. What's your understanding of where things are right now and how soon before Canada and Saskatchewan starts providing fuel to it?
Well, you know the issue well. The Nuclear Cooperation Agreement was agreed to in principle some time ago, and typical of these things, it takes some time to work out the details. September 2013, those details were finalized. And so now our company, the largest uranium miner in the world, is Cameco, headquartered in our province, and they've been working for a time to enter into the market. And that the finalization of the agreement has now provided impetus for sale. And I'm very hopeful that in the next number of months even, you might see an agreement here between Cameco and
the Atomic Energy,
the Energy Commission here.
So you're looking at a few months. That's your
I hope so. I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to be too optimistic, but we're hoping, because I think there's an opportunity.
But Premier, just trying to understand this from a global perspective. Given the concerns around nuclear after Fukushima, and B, given you guys discovering tar sands and shale gas, do you think the premium on nuclear has come down, if I can put it that way?
Well, if two of the largest and fastest growing economies in the world are still expanding their nuclear fleet, as is the case with respect to China and India, then I think there should be hope for nuclear. I also think that as the world gets more serious around CO2 and the climate change issues surrounding power and energy production, that nuclear will play a role, because of course the CO2 emissions are zero.
Yeah.
The United States and China have now agreed to a protocol very recently, as you know, on CO2.
Big deal, yes.
It is, and so it's going to be part of that answer. I think it will be continuing, but I think the biggest argument in favor of some optimism around the long-term prospects of nuclear power, those reasons for optimism lie in India and China, the most robust programs.
But you don't think the conversation around nuclear has changed post Fukushima?
I do. How could it not?
Yeah.
Even Japan they're starting to move maybe to reanimate one of the reactors, but they've shut down their fleet. And how could it not but have all the world be circumspect a little bit and reflect on the safety of it? But I think that's happened. I think India took the appropriate pause. I think they took the inventory and wanted to ensure safety. China did the same. The United States did the same. So, but I do think it changed things for the better, perhaps in terms of even a greater concern on safety.
Okay.
And I think it highlights for us that India has had a long history of nuclear power without incident, with a high reputation for safety.
In fact, our first imported reactor was from Canada. So we have a long working relationship with Canada. While we're on the topic of energy, and since we mentioned shale gas, I want to sort of pick your brains a little bit more about, do you see that as the next big thing? If this pipeline, this Keystone XL that you guys are building, if that comes through,
yes,
given all the political uncertainties and so on, would that change the whole energy equation around the world?
Well, I think shale gas has, and even shale oil, the multi-stage fracking for oil into shale has increased production and contributed to energy security in North America. And look what the price is. I mean, the price speaks for itself at $75 West Texas, or whatever it might be, 78 Brent. So I think there's been a bit of a game changer in supply. The pipeline is helpful to Canada because we don't maximize our value for the resource unless we get it to the coasts.
That's right.
Because you have the differential. You have a Brent price, a West Texas intermediate price, and then we have a Western Canadian mid price, less than that often, because we can't get it to the coasts. And so pipelines are important. But if they approve Keystone, this will be I think the 91st pipeline between our two countries carrying hydrocarbons. So there's been a lot of politics, a lot of emotion about this one pipeline.
Why is that? Is it because of the fracking?
Driven by some environmental NGOs.
Does Saskatchewan have any shale gas reserves?
We have the potential for that, but our production in energy is mostly oil. We're the second largest producer of oil in Canada, and it is conventional oil, light sweet crude for the most part. But now we also have mid-grade and heavier grades. But we have potential for oil sands, about 10,000 square kilometers of area that we know is geologically right for it, right by Alberta, the province that has most of it.
That's right.
But yet none under economic development now.
And you're not worried about the environmental impact of that?
We are. I think we should be. And I think that's why you see companies and governments investing in mitigation, investing in the rehabilitation of habitat. We're hopefully leading in areas of CO2 in our province by investing in the only clean coal project that exists in the world that just was commissioned in October, that cleans up coal CO2 to the degree of 90% on a coal plant. And by the way, we're talking about that here as well, because India is continuing to expand its coal fleet. We need to be vigilant about the environment, but there is an intersect between environmental sustainability and also the responsible development of energy.
I want to quickly get one comment before we wrap up this particular segment, and I want to draw you back to nuclear. In terms of this relationship going beyond just supply of fuel to our reactors, as I understand, technology, reactors, transfer of that, how worried are your companies, and you mentioned Chemco, how worried are they about the liabilities that are associated with the bill that India's just passed?
Well, and we know there's legislation, I think, here with respect to that. We're initially looking at supply. Our companies are looking at uranium supply, and my understanding of that act is that it's limited to the technology.
That's true.
And so, I think we're pretty good there. I think Cameco would like one day to move upstream, but right now we're just focused on uranium supply.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Indian Standard Time. We're in conversation with Brad Wall, the Premier of Saskatchewan. When we come back, we'll talk about what is the most important component of the trade relationship between that province in Canada and India, and that is agro products. That's going to be on the other side of this break. This is Indian Standard Time. Stick around. Welcome back to Indian Standard Time. We're still in conversation with Brad Wall, the Premier of Saskatchewan province in Canada. Let's talk about the fulcrum of the trade relationship that your province and India have, and that is essentially around agro products. Walk us through the nature of this relationship. You talked about lentils, peas, and potash. As I understand, you'll be going to Muzaffarnagar in Uttar Pradesh very soon. You'll be speaking to farmers there. I mean, what are you going to tell them? Why are you going there in the first place?
Well, we're going to say thank you because they are great customers for potash, and potash is a very important industry to the province. We have about 40% of the world's reserves in Saskatchewan, and it employs a lot of people, and so we're grateful to our customers for that economic opportunity.
And potash is the single biggest traded commodity between India and Saskatchewan?
It is, about $300 million last year. It's really driven the relationship. We can claim to be the biggest supplier to India and Canada because of potash, but the agricultural products are important too. So about a quarter of the potash demands in India are satisfied by Saskatchewan potash. So we're going to go and thank them. I think we're also going to be witnessing the signing of 2 important purchase agreements as well going forward over the next 3 or 4 years from 2 different companies and our supplier in Saskatchewan called Campotex. So we're looking forward to that.
But a large majority of farmers here in India use urea as fertilizer. The subsidies for urea are much bigger than that it is for potash. How do you work around that?
Well, we've raised it with government officials when we've been here in India. You know, I think it's important for all of us. We have 40% of the arable acres in Canada in our province, and so the health of the soil and the viability going forward is key. And, you know, it's important to have balance in fertilizer. And so potassium or potash brings certain things that you won't find in urea. And our case to the government has been, we hope there can be some rebalancing, not just in subsidies, but that it might be viewed, and I think Prime Minister Modi's government is talking more about a nutrient subsidy rather than specific to a certain fertilizer, which is what we would advocate. We have reasons around potash, but it's better for the soil.
Okay, tell me a little bit about the United Nations has now declared 2014 as the year of pulses, and obviously a large chunk of your exports to India are pulses. You just recently announced $100,000 for what is it, research? Where does this money go into?
The United Nations has declared next year to be the year of the pulse. And so it's a chance for those countries in the world that either grow it and those who consume it, and both in India, of course, is the largest producer of pulses on the planet, for us to promote the crop, promote the pulses for the protein source they are, to talk a little bit about researching to improve yields, to to focus on its future as well.
So that's where this money.
It will. Yeah, we basically said to the Indian Pulse and Grains Association, here's this money, and we hope it helps to focus on the importance of the crop here in India, but around the world.
And how important, when we talk about food security, it's usually with food grain. We seldom talk about pulses. And given India being one of the largest consumers of pulses, how important are pulses in the overall food security?
They're vital because it's protein.
Okay.
It's protein, and so that's important in a country where 50 to 60% are vegetarian.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's important around the world as more and more people in Asia join the middle class. The protein intensity in their diet, their demands for protein intensity in their diets increase. And lentils and peas, pulses are a great source of protein, an affordable source, a healthy source. And I think that's what separates them from cereal grains and other crops.
Again, we talked about climate change in the first part vis-a-vis energy. When it comes to food, it again comes back again, when you have 1 billion people in China and 1 billion people here in India joining the middle class, more food, more demand for food, we're just again chipping away at nature, aren't we?
We are, and it's important that we continue to do that. It's the only way to solve the problem. You accomplish a long journey one step at a time, and there's a great capacity to continue to produce more, both here and in Saskatchewan and in Canada through crop science, through new breeds. What the yields now today, for example, are much higher than they were just a few years ago for this very reason. Obviously, it's a good thing for the world to have more and more in the middle class and to have healthier diets. So pulses fit into that. Canola fits into that as one of the healthiest edible oils. And that market here is small but significant for us and potential to grow.
So would you be, at least from a trade point of view, be worried about the fact that agro commodities are, if not at historic lows, but at substantial lows, most of them, right around the world?
The prices at home are still not that bad. We just came off a harvest, which was average. Last year we had a record harvest. This year it was average. Prices are not bad. Canola prices have come down a bit, but are still good. And farmers
peas?
are still growing lentils and peas because there's still a commercial opportunity.
Okay.
So, and again, because of the growth potential, I think there's hope for the future too.
All right. You talked a little bit about immigrants. As I understand, Saskatchewan has, 10%
Correct.
of all Indian immigrants into Canada? Walk us through their contributions, if you will.
Well, whether it's students now studying in Saskatchewan or newcomers making Saskatchewan home, they've made Saskatchewan better. Our motto, translated from Latin for our province, is "From many people's strength." And this wave of newcomers we've had, a lot from India, a lot from the Philippines.
And these are students?
No, and students and new residents, newcomers, entrepreneurial immigrants, and those who are now filling what we have a labor shortage. This has made Saskatchewan better. Our culture's better for it. We're more diverse. And when it comes to Indian immigrants, we're talking about professionals and entrepreneurs and engineers and doctors and who have been coming to Saskatchewan for some time, but the numbers are now picking up.
Okay.
And we're very grateful for that. Before I came on the mission, we gathered together our Indo-Canadian community, and they provided a lot of good advice for me and gave me some good sightseeing advice, although I don't think I'll have time to take them up on that.
Did they also give you advice about which movies to catch, which movie stars to meet?
We went for about an hour and a half, so we canvassed all of those things. Unfortunately, it's all work this time, so we're going to have to come back someday when I have a chance to do more of that.
Have you managed to get a glimpse of any Indian movie, Bollywood?
I have not. Obviously, it's very well known in Canada,
Yeah.
And so I have not yet, except with jet lag, you get to watch more television in your room after a long day.
Okay.
And I'm enjoying that at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, maybe the next time you come to India,
I hope
maybe
so.
you can get a
Go to a
movie
theater.
or bump into a movie star.
Television in the hotel is good, but theaters are better.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Premier Brad Wall,
Thank you.
for speaking with us here on Indian Standard Time.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
That was the Premier of Saskatchewan Province in Canada, Brad Wall, speaking to us on Indian Standard Time. I'm Zakka Jacob. From me and the rest of the team, thanks for your time. We'll catch you again next week, same time. Bye-bye.